Are you ready to say hi to the technology? Today we want to tell you 10 obsolete technology products. You may have them in your house but you've never used before. Number 1. Rotary telephones. The wired telephone was invented in 1844, and since then, it has undergone numerous modifications. A common example of this variation was the rotary dial telephone, which had a dial set up in a circular pattern, requiring the user to turn the dial for each digit of the phone number they were trying to call. Rotary phones have long been obsolete, save maybe as a novelty. Due to the ease of purchase, increased personalization, and low cost of current cell phones, wired landlines are rapidly falling behind. Number 2. Floppy disks. Data storage devices known as floppy disks first became popular in the 1970s. The first was an 8-inch floppy disk with a data storage capacity of only 80 kilobytes. The storage capacity of floppy disks increased as they got smaller. By the middle of the 1980s, the 3.5-inch floppy disk could store a respectable 1.44 megabytes. Unfortunately, floppy disks were easily ruined by heat and magnets. The majority of applications required multiple disks to function by the 1990s due to the complexity of the software. Adobe Photoshop required over a dozen CDs, and CD-ROMs started to replace them. Most software programs now just retain the floppy disk as a save icon. Number 3. Pagers. Although pagers were first created and manufactured in the 1950s, it wasn't until the 1980s that they really began to gain popularity. Emergency services, medical professionals, and safety employees who needed to be reachable at all times, even when not near a landline telephone, frequently employed these one-way communication devices. In the early 2000s, the popularity of smartphones caused the use of pagers and beepers to decline, but because of their longevity, resilience, and superior coverage, they were still in use for several more years. For instance, Canada continued to pay up to $18.5 million for its pager service in 2013. Number 4. Cassette tapes. Compact cassettes, which were first released in 1968, made audio accessible to the general public at an inexpensive price using the same magnetic tape technology. They might be used as blank tapes for recording or as cassettes with music albums already recorded on them. Early home computers used cassettes as a storage media since they could also be used to store other types of data. In the 1980s, cassette tapes became more popular, but by the 1990s, compact discs were outselling them and quickly took over as the preferred medium. Nevertheless, cassette tapes kept selling, and it wasn't until 2001 that they really started to disappear. Number 5. Video home system. The mainstream standard for home video in the late 1980s was VHS cassette tapes. These little magnetic tape reels enclosed in plastic casing, whether they were used to record family films or leased from the neighborhood video store to view the newest blockbuster, brought happiness to the lands. A sibling may have accidentally recorded over your copy of Terminator 2, or someone may have forgotten to wound the rental tape. By 2008, DVD had supplanted VHS as the preferred video format for both recording and film distribution. Number 6. Portable dictation devices. Dictation devices came in a variety of forms and used a variety of different data media, including cassette tapes, mini and microcassettes, and were sometimes referred to as dictaphones, after the brand name of the firm that became synonymous with them. In order to take notes or write essays later, these devices were mostly utilized to record interviews, chats, and lectures. As time went on, each was rendered outdated, and storage media lost favor. Even while digital dictation devices are still there, they are on the verge of being extinct because most mobile phones can provide the same capability without the need for a separate standalone device. Number 7. Dial-up modems. When the Internet first began, we linked to the World Wide Web via analog and dial-up modems in the era before contemporary broadband and 4G networks. An open phone connection and a lot of perseverance were needed for these technological wonders to start operating. You would quickly lose connection if someone phoned you while you were online. Although browsing the internet was sluggish and difficult, it was a work of beauty and offered hope for the future. Just have a listen to this recorded sample of what it used to sound like if you're in the mood for some nostalgia. Number 8. Walkman. Over time, a variety of portable music player formats emerged to support the most popular musical format, including MP3 players, mini disc players, portable CD players, and portable cassette players, most notably Sony's Walkman and Sony's Discman. All of these portable music player formats eventually became obsolete when newer, more sophisticated devices emerged. But each had advantages as well. Whether it was battling Walkmans to salvage a tape that had been chewed up or frantically attempting to cram a portable CD player into a coat pocket, we have both happy and stressful recollections of each of these players. Number 9. Game Boy. Nintendo unveiled a new gaming console in 1989, paving the way for its eventual dominance of the industry. With a simplistic design and a screen that was only available in green and black, the Game Boy was a classic portable gaming console. The Game Boy was able to sell over 1 million copies in its first year alone thanks to popular games like Tetris. A short while later, Sega unveiled the Game Gear, the Game Boy's color rival. The Sega Master System's robust game library should have allowed it to dominate the market, but the Game Gear failed to compete with the Game Boy, largely because of its short battery life. Both have long since been superseded by newer technology, although Nintendo continues to dominate the market with its multiple DS systems. Number 10. Film cameras. The present era of the digital camera has essentially long since driven out the conventional film camera from the general market. We no longer have to rely on film reels or excursions to the neighborhood store to get them developed. With the help of digital cameras, SD cards, and contemporary computing systems, we may take pictures with more ease and for much less money. Film cameras are still used for some aesthetic purposes by professional photographers and vintage photographers.